Hello, my name is Grin, and this is my beard. The crumb I'm pulling out of my beard today is, I have to say thank you to Mr. Leoniasti. Always supportive. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. And you had a great question about Japanese comedy, so that crumb you threw in my beard, I'm gonna pick it out and talk about it now. All right, so Japanese humor and comedy is kind of, if you ask me, I'm not gonna be nice about it. It's infantile to me. It's very simple. It's very slapsticky. People doing stuff with their bodies or hitting people or stuff like that. Although some things have changed. Um, Back in the day, there were these weird people who would just like do something silly in front of the camera and they become really popular. Is this really popular guy for a while he was like this bodybuilder and whatnot, and he would get on in front of the camera wearing just his underwear, and he would talk about something that might be important, and then he would say, oh, but that's not important to me, and he'd do this silly dance while he was doing it, but he would say, so nana kanke ne, so nana kanke ne, hi o papi, and that kind of stuff was really popular for a little while, and all the kids were reproducing that whole so nana kanke ne o papi type of thing. eh, that kind of humor, it's like haha, yeah, it's cute, funny, haha. The kids like it, so yeah, it was all right, I guess. Not really funny per se, just silly. Most of the Japanese humor is like that. It's silly, like a lot of pun work. When somebody would say something in Japanese that could be perceived in a different way, and then they would act according to the other way of hearing it, some like double entendre type of stuff without the sexual innuendos and whatnot. No sexual innuendos, just double entendre. Um, Things having more than one meaning, and then they're acting it out like on a stage to people, like Laurel and Hardy style. A lot of that stuff. Lately, though, in like on TV, it's been bad. The humor has become kind of mean in a way. It's a lot of Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude is like when you see somebody trip and fall and you like laugh at them. That's Schadenfreude. It's like, oh, look at that person, he's so stupid, so ha ha ha. But it's also a lot of pranks. Like TV comedy has a lot of pranks. They get people to do silly things, and then trick them into something, and then oh, there's the actual trick. And that's always been a thing here in Japan, though. They used to have these shows, the prank show or something like that, where they would, I don't know, turn an elevator into a giant slide some into a ball pit or something like that. People would get in the elevator, and the bottom would like drop out from underneath them, and then they'd fall down this slide into a ball pit. I mean, I guess that's funny, but it's not intelligent. It's not like American, not even American, just English stand up comedy, which is like they talk about things that you have to think about it, and then that's what makes it funny, is the fact that you have to think about it or whatnot, or talking about situations that just seem very realistic and could happen to anyone, and people can relate to it, but it's funny. Those kinds of things don't really happen so much in Japanese comedy. It's not the thing. The thing is, somebody's standing up and hitting their head on a low hanging ceiling or something like that. It's not exactly the funniest thing in the world, but I mean, if you like Schadenfreude, then it's perfect. You'd love Japanese humor in that case. Now, there are stand up like comedy like bars here in Japan, but believe it or not, most of them are in English. Not here where I'm at. I know there's a couple in Tokyo or in the Tokyo area, but in Kansai, like Osaka and stuff like that, there's a few comedy clubs there, and one of my friends who lives there actually does some stand up comedy there every once in a while. One of the stories he was telling me about, this is not mine. This is not my story. This is my friend Brian Byers' story. His name is Brian Byer. He's great. I think he's funny. And he tells the story about how, oh yeah, when I first came to Japan, I learned some Japanese, and one of the things that I learned is that anytime you say something, if you add "o" before it, it becomes very, polite and honorific. So, like, if you want to say the mountain, you would say Yama, but if you mean like the majestic mountain, you would say Oyama or something like that. Or somebody, if you're talking to somebody, you just add O and it makes it more polite. So he did know some other Japanese too, like nani and shimashita, which is like what and doing things like, or did. So he was driving and he got pulled over by a police officer, and the police officer comes up to the window and he's like, "Oh no, what should I say? I should be really polite to him." And so the police officer rolls down the window for the police officer, and he looks at the police officer and says, "Onani shimashita kara?" Which means, now, "nani shimashita kara" is what did I do? Or, yeah, what did I do? But onani, so he added the O on there to be polite, but onani means to uh, pleasure yourself. So he basically asked, because I was jerking off? And if you know Japanese, it's funny. He doesn't actually go into the explanation that I do, but yeah. So he asked this police officer, "Did you pull me over because I was jerking off?" The police officer is just like, "Yeah, what? You were doing what now?" So yeah, that kind of story doesn't really happen so much in Japanese. I don't hear people talking about that kind of stuff, and I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. Those kinds of stories should work. I mean, like I said, the oyaji gyagu is really, really popular in Japan, and they call it oyaji gyagu because oyaji is like old man, like an old man trick, old man. It's like dad humor. So yeah, it's not. It's very very simple and very punny. Lots of puns. They love their puns for humor. Can't really think. Well, just the Mitsuya cider joke that I was telling earlier. That's a pun. It's pun humor. Mitsuya cider. Mitsuya cider. So it's not really interesting. That's why I don't watch Japanese TV. It's just not really interesting. See, there was a show on today where the humor was these guys were dancing in front of a black screen, and they had like Christmas lights on their bodies so that they looked like you know stick figures, I guess. And it's like, oh well, that's okay. Not even really that funny. It'd be much better if they, used those glow sticks and actually looked like a stick figure. I don't know. And they had fed this guy something, and it turned out to be something else, and he put it in his mouth. I was like, yeah, I don't know. That's not funny to me, but like I said, schadenfreude, and that's what was on TV today. So, humor isn't really a big thing here in Japan. What is pretty popular is things like um, music shows where they have people coming on to sing various songs and compete. Notojiman's pretty popular. It's been popular for a while, although it seems to be less popular now. I don't know. Not really sure. I was on Notojiman a couple years ago, and I actually got all the bells. So that's I'll put a link to my Notojiman uh, performance. I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. And my 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 mistake afterwards. Not she after I had sang and they did all the bells, and so basically I was a winner. And the lady came up to me and like, "Did you hear all the bells?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she says, "Did you hear all the bells?" And I'm like, "Why is she asking me the same question again? I just said yes." And I'm like, "Huh?" hi. And then I got like, I'm looking out under this crowd of people, and it's a pretty big stadium filled with people, and I'm just like, oh, this is embarrassing. What did I not understand her properly, or what? And so I kind of went a little bit wacko in the head, got a little bit spooked by what was going on, and if you watch the video, it's pretty funny. I'm just like walking around, I'm trying to walk away from her without finishing the interview, and she's like, "Hey, wait, come back!" Yeah, but it's good. It was great. And for a little while after that, I actually got kind of some like local fame because I would go to the convenience store and people would be like, "Oh, I know you. I saw you on Norojimon. You sang that song. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. I liked it very much. Oh," and I'm like, "Oh, thank you very much. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Every now and then, somebody will be like, "Hey, did you sing like Piano Man or something like that on Norojimon?" I'm like, "Yeah, I sure did." "Oh yeah, I knew that was you." Stuff like that. That's kind of fun, I guess. Um, but for humor, no, not so much. It's more like they like people who are really skilled at something, like TV shows. Uh, will be, some people who do something really, really well. Like they have a lot of contest videos where it's people trying give them like an hour to come up with a skit of something interesting as quick as possible, or using their creative skills to make some sort of prop that does something really neat. That kind of stuff. There was one the other day where these people would do these little skits, but I remember one of them was like this girl. She's sitting in like a pool that she made out of something. She's fishing, and she goes, "Oh no, it's a big fish!" And she starts doing this thing, and then she falls into the water, and the water isn't real water. It's just like a prop that she had made, like a blanket or something like that. And she folds up the blanket around her, and the blanket turns into a fish. I mean, and she's like flopping around like the fish had eaten her. And I guess that's kind of funny, but it's the creativity of them making that thing that makes the show interesting, I guess. Um, Trying to think of some sort of other Japanese humor that, but I there's like there's no good comedy. Like even in Japanese anime, you think of the comedy, it's a lot of puns, not a huge amount of, and a lot of like slapsticks. Like the girl gets mad at the guy for seeing her out of her underwear, and punches him, and he goes flying, and or blood pours out of his nose or something like that. Very very. It's not very humorous if you ask me, but it's kid humor type style. It's like Japanese humor hasn't matured yet. Like it's getting there, but it's not yet. It's like the 1930s humor of America. Laurel and Hardy. Maybe the Ladmo show. I used to love the Ladmo show, but slapstick, mostly slapstick. Not if you come to Japan looking for comedy, you're gonna be sorely disappointed. Disappointed. It's not the comedy capital of the world. It's what is it? What is it? Even music is really difficult because like if you watch a music show, you're not gonna hear a whole song. It's always gonna be just part of a song. Like the Nodojiman thing that I did, I was only able to sing like 20 seconds of Piano Man. And a lot of that is because the recording industry here in Japan has a grip, a strong grip on any kind of music reproduction. Like even the radio shows, like you go, if you were in America or probably many other places, Australia, whatever, you listen to the radio and they'll play a full song uninterrupted, just the songs, like maybe 5 songs in a row. In Japan, you don't get that. You get somebody talking over the songs and maybe only half of the song. You don't get the full. You want to listen to the whole song. You got to go buy the albums and stuff like that. So it's that's why I don't like any of the Japanese music nowadays. Is because I don't hear enough of it to really want to listen to it. Like if I heard a whole song on the radio and I enjoyed it, maybe I would be interested in it. But they don't do that here in Japan. They give you 10 seconds of a song and then the announcer talking about something and then another 10 seconds of the song and, oh, okay, I hope you like that song. And that song was something by so and so. And it's like, I didn't hear the song. I didn't get a chance. Where's the song? Even our own music, like we tried to play our own music. We were on the Slow Claps. My band, the Slow Claps, was we've done interviews on a radio show, and they were playing some of our music, but they would play it over our interview, and they wouldn't play the full song. And it's like, why not? It's like, well, the recording industry won't let us do that. They can't, no, we can't play a full song, uninterrupted full song. It's like, but it's our music. It's like, it doesn't matter. And I've heard of certain like bars and whatnot that did live music that got shut down because they played a cover of a song and they needed to pay the music industry for the ability to reproduce that music or something like that. And it's like, this is not even the original band. This is a cover and it's a live version. But no, it's a big problem here. So what is interesting? I mean, I think maybe that's why most of the like Japanese anime that's popular in Japan and around the world is the very kind of like crazy, think hard thinking, serious stuff. Like Akira or Cowboy Bebop, where yeah, there's comedy, so to speak. Most of it's slapstick, but there's also a lot of thinking involved, and those kinds of shows become popular. Um, there's a like a investigative, like a private investigator type of show that was on TVA that my wife had watched a couple times. But even that was just like the acting was just so only it's like trying to make a Japanese anime into a live action thing. It just over the top kind of acting. Not like, what's that guy that played in The Last Samurai, that Japanese guy? Not like, quality acting like that. Nothing like that. So TV sucks and comedy is very simple in Japan. And that's why I don't watch Japanese TV, except during the New Year's Eve time. Sometimes I'll watch Norojiman because every now and then they'll have a singer on there that's just an amazing singer, and I love seeing that. It makes me wish I could meet them and help them make music, because I know how hard it is to make music and to do stuff and whatnot. And it would be great if somebody came along and said, "Hey, I know you can do it. Let me help you somehow." Be great. Maybe I'm salty. Do I sound salty? A couple more years and I'll get out of my bad luck time, and then I'll try to focus more on starting my own band and getting my own music recorded and published and stuff. But for now, I mean, I'm very happy with the Slow Claps music, even though I'm not the singer or the writer of the music. It's fun to add my piece to that for right now. So that's the crumb in my beard about comedy. If you have any questions about that, uh, pop them in the comments. If you have, again, I'm gonna ask. This is the thing. I'd love to know what you people, anyone, Mr. The Leo Niasti, thank you for the question on comedy in Japan. I hope I've answered your question as best as I can. And if you guys have any other questions about life in Japan, anything in Japan, let me know. Give me something to talk about. Put the crumbs in my beard and I'll pick them out and throw them into the camera. All right. Thank you very much. See ya. Bye bye.